Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Chillin and Millin. This is a magic-based podcast hosted by three blokes who, much like the Theros Beyond Death Pre-release, you think are going to be enchanting, but are actually just full of horrors that have escaped after you thought you'd already dealt with them.
That was such a good pun.
Thank you.
God,
it's almost as if I planned this. It's almost as if I put effort into my podcast. Who would have thought?
I'm glad one of us is.
I've had horrors escaping from me before, Hugh. You need more fiber in your diet. It soon clears up.
I'll be honest with you, mate. I just think that you need something significantly better than fiber.
Just a plug.
I like the fact that you're airing your the problems with your diet on the internet.
Diet, diet, all the drugs I take, the many hours of sitting playing Magic Online. There's like many contributors to this.
I mean, we're all anonymous, right? No one knows who we really are.
Only our first names.
Yeah,
That's fine.
And our voices, and the fact that Will post this literally on his Facebook. And stuff like that. I think at this point, everyone knows who we are.
Nobody will ever be able to trace it back to us.
Except for all those people that have already traced it back to us. Anyway, who are we?
Well, why don't you start this time?
Yeah, sure, why not? I'm Will. I'm the podcast level 1 judge, and I'm interested in kind of constructed competitive formats. So I play a lot of Modern and Pioneer and Canadian Highlander and all that sort of jazz.
And what have you been doing this week?
I have been playing, shockingly, a combination of quite a lot of Modern on MTGO, and I also dabbed a little bit in Pioneer. So I've been having fun that.
I played your Pioneer deck yesterday. The day before last. I will say I rather enjoyed the quote after you had countered my 4th spell in the game. Of after the game, you looking at me deadly serious and going, "It doesn't play that many counters."
So it actually doesn't.
How many spell quellers do you play?
4.
How many of the other hard counterspell Ionize do you play?
I believe it's 2 or 3. I think it might only be 2.
Okay, so you're playing 6 counterspells.
I'm playing 6 counterspells.
That is more than the average.
So I'm also playing 2 mission briefing to flash them back.
So you're playing 8 counterspells.
Essentially 8 counterspells, yeah.
Or as Will puts it, not that many counterspells.
That is not that many. It really
compared to a control deck, no. Compared to every other deck in the format, it is. I've got a Pioneer deck. I play 2.
That's because you're janky combo.
We'll talk about that. Who's the guy that's giggling in the background?
Oh, I don't do anything. I just sit back here and don't mind me.
Yeah, but what's your name, giggly man?
I'm Sam. I'm interested in the casual formats of Magic. So I play a lot of Commander, and I built a cube, which we're going to talk about. Yay!
Yeah, we're going to talk about it.
The cube I finally get to play where one of my friends took my commander. God damn it. We'll talk about it.
And who are you, Mr. Hostman?
I'm Hugh. I'm the podcast whatever. I'm interested in basically every format that isn't Vintage and Legacy. So I play some Pioneer, I play some Commander, I play some Standard, I play some Modern. Basically whatever takes my fancy. This week I have been playing Pioneer against Will. He's proceeded to stomp me twice, and I beat him with a combo once. That was fun. It showed me the deck actually has some kind of worth to it. I have brewed my own version after claiming in a few podcasts ago that I was going to do it. My own version of Aetherflux Reservoir, which would be It's
closer to Modern Cheerios than anything else done with Aetherflux Reservoir, because Aetherflux Reservoir has been in like a couple of different things. I would argue it's closer to Cheerios.
It's Aetherflux Reservoir, but it's using Cheerios to go off. However, I misread a card because one of the cards I've gotten is Inspiring Sanctity or something on those lines. It gives all of my non-artifact spells improvise. So the whole idea is you play that, and then you can play Paradoxical Outcome for 1 blue and tap 3 artifacts, and then return those artifacts to your hand and just play them again. So it allows you to go off relatively quickly. Problem is, I misread that and thought it just said non-creature spells. So I built the deck around the idea that you could go off tapping artifacts to make artifacts. That's not a thing.
Oh, is it not?
No, you have to.
Ooh.
It's non-artifact spells. Hence why I played very differently when I played you compared to how when I was playing on my bed, going, "Ha! I can go off in 4 turns. I can't go off in 4 turns." So I've decided to do some editing. It's going to have 2 Brazen Borrowers added to it. It's going to have some Ornithopters added to it. It's going to have some Silkspire Nets added to it. It's going to have a few cards pulled out, and I think I'm going to add 1 Fae of Wishes.
A singular Fae of Wishes.
In case of problems, I can have Silver Bullets in the sideboard as well as 1 Aetherflux Reservoir that, in case of problems, I can fetch from the sideboard. So if I'm just going off, but it's like no Aetherflux Reservoir in sight, play it, get it, do it next turn.
That is fair, because Unmoored Ego is a legit card in the sideboard of blue-black decks, and with blue-black Inverter suddenly becoming so popular in Pioneer. I guarantee you'll be seeing so many more Unmoored Egos, either on Inverter or on Thassa's Oracle, and you don't want to fall prey to that. So having
I think our boarding is blue and white, isn't it?
Unmoored Ego. I thought it was blue-black.
I thought it was blue-white, but but I may be completely wrong here. I think you are correct. I think it's blue-black. I do apologize.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, Unmoored Ego, blue-black.
Yeah, I do apologize.
So having an Aetherflux Reservoir in the Wishboard is a legit thing.
I think that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, my question here, and this is a legit question. I know you're putting in the Brazen Borrowers to make the control...
Leyline of Sanctities, because they make me lose.
Yeah.
Unless I want to stick a load of equipment on my 1/1 birds, which is always funny.
Yeah. So my question is, and I know I was the one who suggested the Brazen Borrowers, but why not put in a full play set of Fae of Wishes and just have something in your wish board to deal with the ley lines as well?
Because the issue becomes that requires me to do essentially triple casting. Because by casting something to get from the sideboard, then I have to cast from the sideboard, then I cast Fae, I've essentially triple cast. I'm using way more mana than I should be. With a Brazen Borrower, it's deal with the threat now, and then play the Brazen Borrower if need be, or just go off. I get what you mean, but at the same time, being able to Brazen Borrower at instant speed in their end step to then go off the next turn is a bit more working for me. I might try out both versions of the deck, I'll be honest.
My argument would be that with a singular Fae of Wishes, you will never find it. Fae of Wishes is the sort of thing that works best in 3-ofs or 4-ofs, where you can go and find, where you have lots of situational cards and you can just kind of hold them while you don't need them, and then when you need to go find something, you can get it. The
Fae of Wishes is essentially designed around having a card in my sideboard that is in case of massive problems, the 1 Fae of Wishes can turn up. Because we'll see what happens. I'll play both versions of the deck. I'll see which one is a bit more consistent, and we'll go with that.
Okay. Last thing I'll say about this. Don't think of Fae of Wishes as an emergency button. Think of it as a tool to get whatever you need. So yes, you can have your emergency buttons in your sideboard, but also if you're having 1 Aetherflux Reservoir in the sideboard, it means why not put 1 of every single bit of your combo in your sideboard? So Fae of Wishes becomes a 4 of whatever you need.
I do get the idea. We'll play both versions of the deck and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Sure,
anyway, that's what I've been doing. I've been building Pioneer. Yeah, go back to the first episode where I'm like, I don't like Pioneer. Then me going, I think my Pioneer deck might be working. I think it might be working.
Yeah.
It sounds like some good, interesting decisions there, though.
It's because I built the deck. The deck didn't perform badly is the thing, because I played against Will 3 times against a good mid-range deck. And it managed to win. And it did, let's be honest, it mate, come on. And it managed to win. It did at least manage to win a game. I managed to go off and beat Will with Aetherflux Reservoir. So it proved to me the deck's not just jank. Because I've played jank modern brews before, and I've gotten stomped every single time. This at least proves to me, because at no point while playing my Pioneer decks did I ever feel this deck's just not competing. It always felt like I'm a turn or 2 off going off pretty much every time.
I find that with a lot of Pioneer. Like I played like a Boros Prowess deck in an Pioneer FNM a couple of weeks back. And I think Pioneer's a lot more forgiving to brewers. And
which I like, to be fair. That's one of my real likes of it.
Yeah, I think it's becoming very much the Brewers format, because Standard has never really been a Brewers. Well, no, it has at its peak. Standard has been a Brewers format, but at its worst, it's so anti-Brewer, it's just insane.
Are you playing blue white? Are you playing blue green or mono black? No, go F yourself.
Yeah. Whereas modern, like it's such a knife edge format that your brew has to be already good enough to deal with so many other fast decks that it feels sometimes like a real chore to try and brew in modern.
Yeah, that's what I like about Pioneer. I mean, we keep coming back to Pioneer. I think there's a reason why it's sticking around, why people actually do like it. I do think it is a good format. Now, I will admit, I was wrong when I said this wasn't going to have staying power. It's a very good format.
Oh, yeah. People love it. People absolutely love it. It's got a bit of a blue-black inverter problem at the moment, but I'm guessing that's going to either be like...
I was looking at top 8, and it's actually not as bad as you think it is.
No, it's really not.
No.
I think everybody calling for a ban's a bit premature. I think the meta will adjust.
That's because Magic players call for a ban whenever anything turns up one week that they can't deal with. Yeah, everything gets called to be banned. It's annoying. Magic players who listen to this podcast, I'm talking directly to you here. Stop calling for everything to be banned. It's getting annoying. And on that note, Will.
On that note, there's been a fairly significant banned and restricted announcement.
We are very late on this, I will say.
We're a little late. It was announced.
We were busy.
A little.
We're busy people. We have lives and people that we like hanging out with and stuff.
This literally happened the day after we recorded, and in the last podcast, I had to issue hey, I'm dumb, because it was like, hey, I don't think Oko's going to get banned, and it was literally less than 24 hours later.
It was very unfortunate.
Got banned.
So okay. So I'm going to go over the banned and restricted announcement, and then I'm going to tell you the story of how I told Hugh this.
Yeah, go on.
So the banned and restricted announcement. There's only 3 bannings, and they're all in modern. So the first banning is Mox Opal. The second banning is Oko Thief of Crowns, and the third banning is Microsynth Lattice.
Hallelujah.
So 2 of those, I think, are fairly cut and dry, and one of them's fairly interesting. But basically, this banned and restricted announcement came out less than 24 hours than when we last recorded the podcast, and I believe it was already out when we released it. And I was shocked.
Yeah, because I had to do an edit because I was listening to it going, I didn't think that Oko was going to get banned, and then I looked at my phone and saw that Oko got banned.
Yeah, so I text Hugh in the middle of the day while I was at work, because like I work at a computer, so I can just send a message off to him. It's like, yeah. Within 30 seconds, I get a phone call from Hugh going, "What does it say?" It's like
I was driving back from work. To be fair, I'd finished work for the day, and I was driving back. I get a ding. I literally look to the side, and I just see banned and restricted ... And I'm just like, I need to know, but I also can't pick up my phone because I'm driving, and I'm a good boy.
Yeah. So I get this very like almost panicked phone call of like, "What's the banned and restricted announcement? Why do I need to see it immediately?" It's like, okay, let me take you on this journey. So, sorry.
I hate myself for this. I really do.
So, the first one and the most cut and dry, and I think the one that most people haven't had a problem with, is Oko Thief of Crowns.
I will admit it was a problem in Standard, and then it became a problem in Modern because people just realized, hey, you know that thing we've been doing to break Standard for a while? It works in Modern too.
Yeah. So, Oko Thief of Crowns, when they looked at their league data and the such, about 40% of all decks in recent league and tournament play were playing Oko Thief of Crowns.
That's ridiculous.
A lot. And if you look at the GP results right before this banning, I think it was the first modern GP of the year or the last modern GP of last year or something like that. It was one of the major tournaments. Something daft like, I believe it was either 6 or 7 decks of the top 8 were running Oko Thief of Crowns. It was completely warping the meta. We talked about it loads on the last episode, so go back and listen to that if you want to listen to why it should be banned, but it was being banned.
It was specifically seeing play in Urza decks, wasn't it? It was seeing a lot of play alongside Urza Lord High Artificer, which on its own is not a problem, but it just meant that the deck became really, really consistent because either you +2'd him and got pretty much free mana out of tapping your food, or you -3'd him and just obliterated a threat.
Yeah, so it basically turned Urza decks from kind of fragile combo decks that relied on the flop to sword combo into weird it wasn't even a control deck, they were like weird artifacty mid-range decks that were just trying to get value. Basically, it was too good.
They were controlling, and that's the thing, because there was so many little control elements playing.
Yeah, there was also like 5-color snow decks.
There's always a problem when you're in a format like Modern or Standard and someone starts your deck with 5-color blank, and you're like, oh no!
Yeah, he was in like 4-color snow decks, and he was in like the Titan. I want to call it Titan Breach, and Titan Breach is a really, really old deck. Titan Shift decks and stuff like that, just as like a way of just either disrupting your opponent enough to get the combo off, or enough to, or like just an alternate win conditional. Basically, it was blooming everywhere, and you had to either be able to kill Oko or be playing Oko, and it was making Modern a very miserable place to be. So Oko Thief of Crowns is now banned.
And it's the fact that that wasn't the only thing in that deck that actually caused issues, because the Urza deck was seeing so much play to the point where they then decided to ban Mox Opal as well, because they finally realized that Mox Opal is the engine for so many degenerate things. Because Mox Opal sees so much play in artifact base. If you play an artifact based deck, you're playing Mox Opal. And the problem is, I think Mox Opal saw ban because it was so homogenizing that basically every single artifact deck saw at least one of them in the board.
So I don't even. So you'd never play Mox Opal in the board. It was always in the main, and that's the thing.
I meant though. Sorry.
In the 75 you played 4 of, So here's the thing about Mox Opal. So Mox Opal is our second ban, and it was banned arguably because of these blue-green Urza decks that were like just going up there, getting loads of artifact value and just winning somehow.
It's as it's put, as a source of fast mana in the early game, Mox Opal has long contributed to strategies that seek to end the game quickly and suddenly, whether with explosive attacks, one-turn win combos, or by locking out the opponent with prison elements. And when you've got a card that is doing 3 very different things, you've got a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why anybody would ever be surprised on this. Mox Opal, I would estimate, has been on the chopping block for about 2 or 3 years now.
They mentioned it in a previous one, didn't they? Where they said like we were considering it, but we didn't.
It's been mentioned and speculated for years. Like anything with the word Mox in it is automatically got like a little bit of a watch on.
Mox Amber's potentially the only thing I would argue doesn't have a watch on it.
Mox Tantalite is very bad, but
no, I meant Mox Opal as well. Not Mox Opal, Mox Amber. They're good. They're not great. They're like fine.
Yeah, Mox Tantalite is just bad, but Mox Amber, like, it's a bit of a combo piece in Pioneer. But anyway, this is not the point. But Mox Opal, basically, it's one of those cards where if it just was ran in Affinity or Hardened Scales, it would probably be fine. But the fact that it's a 0 mana artifact that makes mana always has the chance to be busted.
Because you play it turn 1, and even if it does nothing turn 1, by turn 2 you've got extra mana without having to tap anything out. You don't have to tap your mana. You don't have to tap out turn 1. You don't have to do anything turn 2. You don't have to and you don't have, like with Birds of Paradise or with Noble Hierarch, something that is really easily destroyed by a card that everyone plays. Because with a lot of mana dorks, pretty much every deck is going to play something which kills a mana dork. A bolt, a push, something on those lines. be honest with you, I can't think of a modern deck that plays mainboard Artifact Hate that's really in the top at all. You get stuff that's like exile target permanent or destroy target permanent, but they're kind of much more designed to destroy creatures still.
A Braid turns up in like some red splashing control decks.
I saw it turned up in Wurza, and that's what irritated me. It's like, hey, we need to deal with the artifact decks. Where's it turning up? Artifact decks.
Anyway, but the point of Mox Opal is like, even if they banned Urza, which is what I think people were actually more calling for with that deck, even if you banned Urza, the argument that Wizards has given for years is that something else will come along and Mox Opal will break it. Banning Mox Opal is better now because we still actually keep the Urza deck, and I actually played against it today and it's actually perfectly fine. Like, without Mox Opal, it's not explosively broken.
It's not a particularly problematic deck. It's value and it's good. But again, you look at something like Tron, I'd argue that Tron's not ban-worthy. It's very good, but it's not broken, it's deal-withable, and Wurza without Mox is deal-withable.
Yeah,
you can still shoot Urza in the head and he will just go away. Like, it's fine.
Yeah. So arguably getting rid of Mox Opal is better for the meta now, and it's better for the longevity of the meta. It's a sad thing that by
is that right, Affinity? Is that right, Affinity player? Is it sad?
Well,
do you feel sad now you can't play in your Affinity?
Here's the thing. I actually get why those people are upset. I get why everybody who plays Affinity and everybody who plays Hardened Scales is upset, because Affinity is now a dead deck.
Because their deck has died for the sins of another.
Yeah. Affinity is Affinity's a dead deck. As far as I'm aware, Hardened Scales is now dead. Now, don't get me wrong. Affinity wasn't all that popular outside of like FNMs and maybe smaller tournaments. I don't think it's like put up good results in a couple of years. But Hardened Scales was definitely a deck. But it's just one of the. This is just what playing Magic is like, right? You occasionally something gets banned and it screws you over, and I get that it's upsetting.
I think with a lot of players, you have to at least acknowledge that if you're playing a piece that you know is on the chopping block or is problematic, because if you played something like Mox Opal or you played something like what's the one red? It's been banned for 2 months.
Faceless Floating.
That's the one. It's been banned for 2 months. I hated it. It's banned because it's gone. I've now forgotten what its name. You played Faithless Looting. Let's be honest here. Everyone that played Faithless Looting in the back of their heads knew this ain't gonna be forever.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. People get annoyed, but I think if you're playing those kind of decks, you've got to accept that ain't gonna stick around.
I mean, that's one of the inherent problems of like having an eternal format, isn't it? While also trying to keep some kind of decorum in it. I mean, if you didn't have bans for stuff like that, then it would turn into another vintage or legacy lookalike.
You look at something like Yu-Gi-Oh! That has no bans, and it's a mess. Yeah, it's just like 2-turn combos, and that's it. I do apologize for any Yu-Gi-Oh! Players listening who completely disagree with what I've just said, but from talking to Yu-Gi-Oh! Players, people are like, yeah, it's just combo.
Yeah. So, that being said, I do appreciate people who love like Affinity and stuff, and who've been playing it for years. My heart goes out to you. If you bought a playset of Oko FIFA Crowns and you now want to cry to me that Oko's been banned, you can get in the bin. Yeah, you can get in the bin.
This is the thing. Yes, it has killed a deck that has been around for a long time. It is one of those Affinity and Hardened Scaled has died for Wurza's sins, but you knew what you were getting into when you played a deck that included a card as one of its linchpins that had sites trained on it for years now.
And Sam's absolutely correct, where this is just one of the... It's the risk that you run when we play paper Magic, right? Because in something like Hearthstone, you can errata a card. And I know for a fact that in the new Dragon Ball game that our friend Pete plays, they've errata cards, and it is a blasted hellscape for new players trying to get into it because of errata cards.
I think the other thing is, like, I've been on the receiving end of this. I bought a playset of Eye of Ugin during the Eldrazi winter, and then was essentially told by Andy, our local game store owner, "Hey, get rid of that now." And I'd only been playing the game for like 2 or 3 months at that point, and so I'm staring at this card going, "Why?" And he's like, "Sell it, trust me." And I'm like, "Okay." And so I sold one of them, got a nice profit out of it, and then a month later they got banned, and I'm sat with 3 of them that are now not worth much. Going, I see what you mean. So I do understand it.
I'll put it this way: you're part of your way towards the legacy.
To be fair, that's what I was thinking. I do have a ridiculously large amount of Eldrazi temples. I think I've got like 12 of the things, and I don't know how or why.
I'm not sure how you've managed to do that.
Well, I went to buy 4 of them, and I've ended up with like double figures. I will say, when it comes down to bans, the one that I'm actually happiest about is the final one, which is the Microsynth Lattice ban.
Don't think you're going to find many people complaining about this one. Okay, so shall I explain why it's been banned, and then
explain the combo and explain why that was explain the combo, and I think people will know why it's an issue.
Okay, so Microsynth Lattice, it was a 6-mana artifact that said all permanents or artifacts and additional server types, all cards that aren't on the battlefield, spells.
All cards that aren't on the battlefield, spells and permanents are colorless.
Yes, sorry. And players may spend mana if it was mana of any other color. So it's basically everything is artifacts, everything is colorless, everything you can cast.
Everything's mirrored.
This has been banned because of its interaction with Khan the Great Creator.
It's the first line. It's the all permanents are artifacts in addition to their other types.
Yeah. So Khan the Great Creator's first static ability says activated abilities of your opponents can't be activated. Of artifacts your opponents control can't be activated.
It's a Stony Silence.
It's Stony Silence, basically. So notably here, activating tapping a land for mana is a activated ability that doesn't use the stack.
Now, this wouldn't be a problem if it weren't for the fact that Khan's got a -2 that lets you go searching in your sideboard for any card, which usually ended up being Microsynth Lattice.
Yeah, it's basically a wish board. It's basically a 2-card combo which found itself, which is not.
It's ridiculous. You play 4 of Khan the Great Creator, and you just found your you don't get to play the game combo.
So, as far as I'm aware, this was only ever really played in Tron and a couple of other places, but it turned up in all sorts of decks originally. It was basically found to not be worth it. But anything that's playing artifacts where you could cast Khan quite reliably, then cast Microsynth Lattice, you could play it. And the argument is it's too easy to include. Even though it's banned, decks are still including Khan the Great Creator.
He has the ability to go and get silver bullets without sideboarding game 2, because the other is you're playing against someone who's playing something like Saheeli Rai Cat combo. You play your Khan the Great Creator, you -2 him, you go get a Pithing Needle, and boom, you've shut down their deck without having to sideboard. You've just done it already. Yeah.
So Wizards argued that the opportunity cost for introducing this combo was far too low, and just shutting your opponent completely out of casting spells was not really the point of any of this.
It's not
as a result,
fun.
It's banned. No,
it's because I played in a modern tournament a few months ago where my first opponent was playing Tron, and the fact of the matter is, I played game 1. I got locked out the game because of this. Game 2. I played both a Damping Sphere and a Damping Sphere and a Pithing Needle, naming Khan the Great Creator, and I still lost the game.
For real?
I still lost the game because he played Khan the Great Creator and obliterated my Pithing Needle.
Yeah.
So all he did was go, well, I'm going to win, but it's going to be in 7 or 8 turns time instead. So I still lost the exact same combo. And the problem is, and I can't remember the guy that I played against, but he clearly had some kind of wants to do this, because he played it, and I kind of looked at the board, and I looked at him, and he just kind of nodded and went, yeah, you don't get to play Magic now. And in the nicest possible way to the guy, don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Like if I say to you, hey, do I not get to play Magic now? And he's like, afraid not. That's fine. Nice little bit of banter. Don't tell me I don't get to play the game I've signed up to play.
Yeah, so basically nobody enjoyed playing against it. I'm pretty sure it wasn't that fun to play with. And the decks where it was, it's like you just replace it with other stuff. Like Tron is going to be a deck, even without this, it's going to be fine.
Until the day the Tron lands are banned, which I don't think is coming, let's be honest here, Tron will persist.
Yeah,
so
basically.
It's what, well, Tron was a deck before Ugin, Tron will be a deck after Ugin, Tron was a deck before Khan the Great Creator, Tron will be a deck after Khan the Great Creator. Exactly. And the fact that it also turned up in Eldrazi while giving nothing to Eldrazi. It's like, hey, does this card ramp me or help my Eldrazi or anything like that? Nope. Then why is it in here? Ability to just lock the player out the game. That's annoying. Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's the ban of restriction announcement. I don't think anybody's been very sad, and from what I can tell, Modern's been a better place since.
Good. I'll be jumping back into it soon. We'll move on. We will move on then and talk about our second of our 3 points, which is not quite, I think, 3 weeks late. Oops. We're going to talk about the Theros Beyond Death. The Theros
Beyond Death.
Jonathan Wass.
I wish they'd called it that.
The Theros Beyond Death pre-release that all 3 of us went to together in Nottingham.
It was awesome.
It was a podcast reunion.
It was a podcast reunion. We all had a very, very good time. I believe that I think we all went 2-3.
Yeah, I definitely went 2 and 3.
Yeah. Sam, did you go 2-3?
No, I think you went 3 and 2, didn't you, Sam?
I think I went 3 and 2.
Nice. I went 2 and 3, but I will politely...
Yeah, I went 3-2.
I will politely say that my deck was working. I think that, the one card was working. We'll get into that. Yeah, in terms of, we'll talk about the kind of the decks we built. So, Sam, what deck did you build in the pre-release?
So I built red, green, white Constellation. It was basically I got a really good pool, to be fair. I got Cetacean Champion for the greenware. I got the Crone War from red, and I got the what was that white one? The Archon of Sun's Grace from white. Yeah, so
put it like that. With the exception of red, that's basically a standard deck you got there.
Yeah.
So yeah, my pool basically just said, "Look, you're gonna play enchantments, and you're gonna love it." So it was sweet. It built itself.
Did you play enchantments? Did you love it?
I did play enchantments, and I did love it.
Good.
Nice.
Will, what did you build?
I built
Sultai.
I built Sultai escape things / mid-range. So my pool was, I'm going to be honest with you, my pool wasn't very good. So I had my promo rare was Erebos's Intervention. No, is it Intervention?
Yeah.
The one Black
and X.
Yeah.
I then
Black
proceeded.
X, actually.
Is it just Black and X?
Yeah.
I then proceeded to pull another Erebos's Intervention in my pool.
And then I pulled one, and I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah. I pulled a Nylea's Intervention.
Fine in Commander.
Yeah, fine in Commander. And then, who's the Oracle of Half-Truths?
Oh. No idea.
It's a 3/2 with Menace. And when it ATBs, you basically get a mini Factor Fiction, but one of the piles is upside down, so you can't see it.
Actress,
yeah. So that card was the most fun thing about the deck. The rest of the deck was absolutely awful. But Actress is a very, very fun card. Like, I want to play more with her. But yeah, the only other thing I got was of any note was is it the Naga? That, like, when it ETBs, it's like a 4/4 with lifelink, and when it
goes
ETBs,
stick
you
something in your
entomb.
grave.
Yes. Yeah. So that Naga, and then it makes everything in your graveyard cost 1 less to cast.
And it's got lifelink because, yes.
Because they just like sticking keywords on things now.
Yes. That Naga has got too many words on it, because I guarantee you I forgot every single line of that card at some point. I think if I had been in if I had been at like a Comprel tournament, and it's not a May ability, I'd like to point out that in 2 ability, I'm pretty sure I would have got a match loss for the amount of missed triggers I had.
Probably.
It was genuinely atrocious. And that's actually the general feel I got from Theros, which is lots of creatures with lots of words on it, and it's going to be mistrigger bonanza.
I decided to build due to having a pool which was really well. My pool was good, but the issue was my pool wasn't amazing in any one specific color. It was just good across the board. I had a good rare in basically everything, and if I didn't have a good rare in that color, all of the uncommons and commons were good. So I ended up building 2 decks, but going with one. I ended up going Esper Flyers. That was my deck.
Oh yeah, that's always a solid choice.
Yeah, Esper Flyers. Black was in there for the Naga that I also got, mainly because it's hard not to play a 4/4 lifelinker, I'll be honest.
Yeah, a 4/4 lifelinker for 5 is pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's pretty damn good, and I can go and get one of my few escape cards. The reason I played blue-white was because I pulled Dream Trawler, which is an absolute powerhouse in limited. My god, there was only in that pre-release, there was only one game I played where I got Dream Trawler out and I didn't win within a turn. That was when I played it and my opponent already had a 12/12 Pelucranos, and I'm like, yep, nothing I can do here.
That's not brilliant.
No, it's not. But essentially, the Dream Treader just had the thing where every time I played it, it's like, well, this thing is never going away. It's always drawing me cards. It's a 5/5 whenever I attack you, and it's got flying, so it's hard to block. And it's like this thing.
I mean, it's also got lifelink, hasn't it?
It does, which means that it recuperates any losses I've had doing with it. It's a 6 cost and 2 blue, 2 white. It's hard to cast, but my god, the moment it came out, it controlled the game.
Oh yeah, it will do. Yeah,
the best fun I had at the entire pre-release. I was at 2-2 at this point because I'd won my first game, lost my second game because I went up against a guy that was playing the new Ashiok, which is just the best card,
brutal.
Just the best limited card in that set by a country mile.
You could tell who pulled the Ashioks by who was on table. Like, it was brutal.
After the first game, I was near top table, and I'm not even joking you. The people around me, out of the 6 of us, all but one of us had either a Dream Treader or an Ashiok. And it's like, yep, this is the meta here.
Yeah, it's brutal. And like both of them have gone on to make both impacts in Standard and Pioneer.
Yeah, so I played against that and lost in my second game. Played against another guy, won. Played against Pelucranos, lost. And went against my 5th opponent, going 2-2. And I sat down, I looked up, I looked at him, he looked at me, and we both recognized each other as the guys that were playing Dream Treader on top table earlier, who were just like hype manning each other whenever our Dream Treaders came out. And we're like, oh dear, here's how it goes. And we proceeded to realize that our decks basically durdled until we hit Dream Treader. So we proceeded to play Speed Magic, where neither of us took more than 10 seconds to do a turn. So we played the entire 3 games in about 10 minutes. Yeah. It was like Island go, Plains go, Dream Treader go. Damn it, lose. Nah, next game. Go.
So I'd like to point out at this point. So I was helping judge the event, and I already lost my match at this point. So I was wandering around, like collecting scores and stuff. And I was watching you play this Speed Magic, and I was so confused because you're like, "Yeah, we do this so fast. Yeah, lose the game." I was like, "Guys, you've got like 20 minutes left on the round. There's no need to."
We know. Speed. But I think the thing is, we realize that our decks basically won with Dream Treader and basically very little else. And so we both basically realized, right, we need to play this hard and quick because the chances of us winning when we don't have a Dream Treader are like 5%. So let's go hard and fast until we hit a Dream Shredder, accept the loss, and do the next one. And so 10 minutes of two men screaming at each other in the middle of an LGS, and it was great. I loved it. I was having so much fun.
Oh, brilliant!
I got Escape Pelucranost for 12, and that was depressing.
Yeah, that's a hell of a thing when you actually manage to escape it.
The 12-12 came out, and it's like, well, I die next turn, and then proceeded to draw Dream Shredder and look at it and go,
"Oh,
you're a blocker now." And I played it, and every other turn it appeared, been the biggest thing on the board, and instantly won me the game. And it was just the equivalent of it appearing, going, like, Pelucranos, I have come here for... instant, gone, out of the sky, obliterated in an instant. And it was, and I just was like, yep, this is my life now. Because that game I'd lost like 5 minutes earlier, and I was just watching the loss happen in front of me. Because I'm like, I know I can't win this, but at the same time, you're not going to win this quickly. So we're going to let this happen over the course of about 5 to 10 minutes.
So
that was an awesome game to watch.
Yeah, it really was.
I was pushing for the draw so badly. I'm like, if I can just play this normally and just stop her beating me, I might get a draw out of this, because Pelucranos don't have trample. So if I can just keep throwing 1/1s underneath him, no issues whatsoever.
So what are our thoughts about Theros Beyond Death, just in general then? Like, did we enjoy it? Did we hate it? Uninspired by it?
Sam?
I found it really enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like each of the strategies had something going for it. I didn't feel like there was anything too overpowered, Dream Trawler / Ashoka side.
I will admit that I was the problem there. When 2 and 3 is still considered the problem.
Yeah. But no, I feel like that problem is kind of exacerbated a little bit. Pre-release, and so everyone gets 5 packs instead of draft where you get 3 packs. Yeah. So I feel like it's going to be an awesome drafted experience, and I really want to get another draft in with it. So yeah, I loved it.
I think you're correct in saying that it's definitely a format where there's no one strategy that will just win you the game, because they've had a few sets like that in the past. I mean, M20 springs to mind to me, where basically it's like, hey, you playing elementals? No, then lose.
It was either you're playing elementals, then lose, or you're playing flyers.
Yeah,
flyers were real strong.
A 2-mana draw spell. Oh.
It was the fact that me and you, didn't we, Will? We went to the pre-release together. We played Two-Headed Giant, and we basically just pulled our packs, looked at each other, and I took elementals, and you took you took elementals, I took flyers, and every single person we went up against
had done the exact same.
So what are you playing? Blue-white flyers and something else, and it's like, okay, this format has a problem. Same with I liked Guilds of Ravnica a lot, but Guilds of Ravnica had a Dimir problem, and it knows it. You played Dimir because when we did the pre-release for that, it was, hey, who booked first? These 6 people. Those are the Dimir players, by the way. Everyone else gets whatever's left.
Yeah. It's like, did you get a Thief of Sanity? Yeah? Excellent. No. Oh.
Yeah. Excellent. I'll see you next game.
Yeah.
and I think you're right in that there's no one format that's good. Escape is very good. It's not broken.
Yeah.
Like, I will admit it's not broken because you have to exile the cards. It's valuable, but it's not an issue. I never at any point felt I hate this escape card. Why does it keep coming back?
Yeah, the fact that like, if you can find ways to contrive it into your bin and stuff, like, it can be a very, very powerful mechanic when you want it to be. But you need. I found this a lot. You need the synergistic cards around escape to make it work in draft and sealed. Yeah, draft and sealed. and I just didn't have the shell around it to make it work. And when I played it, it spectacularly failed.
The other major issue with that, well, I say the major issue, the other thing that makes it fair is the fact that if you're playing a deck with loads and loads of escape cards and they all go into your bin, at times you've just got to pick.
Yeah, you got to pick which ones you want back.
Two really good escape cards in your deck, and you're like, to play either of these, I've got to get rid of the other. So it's not like you've just got a load of cards in your bin that are all just going to come back.
It's not like flashback. There's an actual cost to it, a real legit cost to it.
You get to do it again. Well, I'd argue it's more fair than flashback because of that. But at times it can be a bit more powerful than flashback, because flashback you do it once and it's gone. With escape, you can continuously doing it. Like playing standard with Oro, the Titan. I've got an Oro out like 4 times a game just from escaping him. Yeah. And that feels good. But it also made me realize there are just so many cards in my deck that I just don't get to use right now because they're gone.
Yeah.
And then you got Constellation, which is surprisingly powerful because they've built an entire system around enchantments. And then you got Devotion, which we always knew was good, but is still good now, which is
Devotion
always
is still fun. Can confirm. All the gods seem sick.
Yeah, all the gods seem sick. I will say, God.
I was just going to say, just for thematic moment, there seem to be a lot of constellation cards, not constellation cards, the constellation gods and demigods floating around. Seeing all those floating around was very cool.
That is very cool, to the point where their prices have all dropped dramatically, which is
I'm deeply thankful for that. I have bought them all for my commander deck.
You can get the pretty ones. I will say the thing out of it that I noticed, the thing that that kind of made me kind of look a little bit sideways at it, because it's got a lot of gods, because it's got a lot of indestructible in it, it's very heavy on removal. And I'm talking
so heavy.
Very heavy. Like the set is a very removal heavy set. It's got a lot of exile, it's got a lot of destroy, it's got a lot of
minus X.
Minus X, minus X. It's got dreadful apathy to allow you to enchant your god and then exile it. So it's like there's so much there. So if you're the sort of person that builds a deck without removal and like has like 1 or 2 key linchpins, be aware that you're gonna have those things gone relatively quickly. I mean, Maya's Grasp, 1 and a black, target creature gets -3/-3, MVP of the entire pre-release. Like, that card saw more play than any other card I saw.
It's just efficient, isn't it?
Anyone in black was like, nope.
between that and the Mogus's favor, give a creature -1, just nuke anything that's a 1-drop.
Here's a small thing, yep, boom, dead.
Yeah. I will also put a shout out to Erebos's intervention for basically doing the same thing, but also gaining you life at instant speed. The exile twice as many cards from your graveyard is surprisingly relevant in Sealed. So
shout out,
throwing that out there.
Shout out to Heliod's intervention as a card. As a card I thought was going to be garbage, and then I realized was straight up just a white X, destroy X creatures, because there are so many enchantment creatures out there. So I'm like, dude, I can just obliterate everything. I was playing a draft on that last weekend, and I was playing against a guy or a girl absolutely got ahead of me, and they had like 6 creatures on the battlefield, and I had like 2, and I'm like, I'm not winning this game. And I drew Erebos's intervention, Heliod's intervention, and went, oh, I win! Because I just tapped for 8 and just went, you see your 6 enchantment creatures, yeah? Ping, 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 swing for lethal. And it's one of those, oh yeah. Because I saw that card and went, why would I ever want this? Why would I ever want to gain twice X life? I don't care. Why would I ever want to destroy? Why would I ever want to do that when I could just destroy all enchantments? I thought it was sideboard tech or a card that sees play in some bit of Commander. I didn't see it as any kind of major card. And then I've played with it, and I'm like, yes, in this environment, this is straight up one of the best removal spells.
Yeah, that's fair. That's very fair. So, so in general, we would say it's been a very positive set. We've all enjoyed it quite a lot.
I think that draft experience is going to be up with some of the ones. That's going to be like another domino.
Yeah, 100%. Would do again.
Yeah. Would draft again. Speaking of drafting.
Yeah.
Please.
Smooth.
I'm getting flashbacks to getting obliterated in the first 30 minutes.
That segue was too good.
Thank you very much.
So, we all played a slightly different format at the weekend. We decided to give a Commander Cube a try. Yeah. Which is where you get 4 packs of 15 cards.
Yeah, I like, we decided to give a Commander Cube a try. The man who built and owns said Commander Cube.
I just had it lying around.
And not guy turned up and sat there and was like, hey, got this. Doing
it. This in a bed. You want to draft it?
Sam, how'd you get in here? We locked the door on the 2nd floor.
Sam, I thought you were dead.
I killed you.
Oh man, you did kill Will. You did destroy Will.
We'll talk about that.
Please don't.
We'll talk about Salt.
So if you don't know what a Commander Cube is, you get 4 packs of 15 cards. You want about 8 people, but you can do it with, I don't know, anywhere between 4 and 8 really. And you basically just, you draft it and build a deck. And it's really dumb.
The best thing I found about it was that you build a deck, and there are 2 ways of building. You either pull a commander and go, right, let's build the deck. Or you do what I did and make the mistake of building the deck, and then your final pack going, oh, crap! I haven't got a commander.
Okay, so full disclosure, I also did that. I've actually drafted your Commander Cube 3 times now, Sam.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
In the last one when I was with Hugh, we both did that. We both just started drafting decks, and then on the 4th pack realized we didn't have a commander.
The best thing is, it turned out that the people either side of us had picked our commanders.
We were in the same. We were the person next to me was in Mardu, like I was, and then the person next to you was in.
No. Lewis was next to me, and he wasn't in my colours at all.
He just stolen your commander.
What happened was he pulled that commander in pack 2, and in his own words went, "Oop, that's not something that no one else is having," and put it in his no pile. And I don't blame him for it, but at the same time, I blame you for it, Lewis.
So basically, Lewis stole your commander, and Ellie stole my commander and all my good cards.
It was hilarious, because we ended up playing 5-color commanders, but Will played a 5-color commander that didn't help his deck. Nope. And I played a 5-color commander that got shot in the face 3 times.
What hurt, though, was you were playing Golos.
I was.
What hurt was I passed you Golos, assuming that I could pick up a commander in the 4th pack.
And it's the fact that you were like, I should have taken that card, and I'm holding it going, yeah, you should have. I was playing a green, red, blue ramp deck. The only reason I was playing blue was for X spells, because my deck essentially revolved itself around playing ramping very, very big, and either playing a few big creatures that I pulled, or by playing an X spell to either obliterate something or obliterate someone, or to mill them out for debt. And this is all helped by the fact I pulled a Reverberate. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't know what happened in the game after the first 45 minutes, because me and Will died very, very quickly. Because what ended up happening...
yes, we both died very quickly. Hugh, would you like to tell them why I died very quickly?
So here's what I did. I decided to start ramping, and I did. I ramped very, very well, and I ended up with a very large amount of mana. I think about 11 or so mana. At that 11 mana, I basically realized that, well, it was even more, I think it was like 12 or 13. And I essentially realized at that point that I wasn't going to win. But I looked at my graveyard and noticed that Will had milled into my graveyard. What is it? What's it called? Sorry.
Increasing confusion.
Increasing confusion.
It was discard.
I'd wheeled you into discarding it.
Yes, he had made me discard it. A increasing confusion, which is blue and X. Target player puts the top X cards into their library. Flashback, blue and X. If it's cards from flashback, they mill twice X. And I'm like, that could be a card I could use later. And I drew a Reverberate. So, copy target spell, you may choose new targets. And I realized I couldn't do it quite yet. And so I counted up, okay, how many cards can I do this? And I worked out that I could, with my current mana, if I didn't draw any more, mill for 36. And so I proceed for the next minute, while all the turns are being passed, to lean on the table and go, hey, so how many cards you got in library? To everyone on the table. And everyone responded. And then it gets to my turn, and I turn to Will. And I go, Will, how many cards have you got in library?
I respond, 36.
I guess 36. And he looks at me and he goes, I don't understand how you can get 36 cards into my graveyard right now. At which point I
no.
Yeah, what was the phrase? I can't. No, it's like it's something along the lines of, "You can't mill 36 right now. I bet it," or something along those lines.
I bet you can't. I bet you can't mill me for 36 right now. I bet you're messing with me just to get mind games.
Yeah. At which point I look at him. I go into my graveyard. I place Increasing Confusion. Will looks at it and goes, okay. And then I place Reverberate in my hand, and Will just go, damn it.
Oh.
So what's more distressing about this story from my point of view is, I was basically already out of the game anyway, because our friend Lewis had managed to steal a
Prophet of Krufix.
A Prophet of Krufix, which is in this cube for some reason. Sam,
remove it.
Yeah, I might take that out.
He
got a Prophet of Krufix with a Yahweh on the board.
Take it out and put in a Hydroid Crasset.
The problem is that Prophet of Krufix has been like an issue in has basically dominated every single game it's been in.
You could track who was winning the game by who
had the Prophet of Krufix.
Yeah,
I had the Prophet of Krufix out, and I was doing fine. But then someone killed my Prophet of Krufix, and it was like, okay, yeah, GG.
It was, yeah.
But he was like, I'm going to mill somebody. So I was like, okay, I just need to
I didn't say I was going to mill someone. No, I kept asking people how many cards they had in deck, and people were like, what are you doing?
Literally.
But what I actually had in hand was I had 7 2/2 zombies from the card that makes everybody mill X, basically. Then you get X zombies equal to the number of creatures milled this way. And I was like, okay, I just need to convince you not to mill me. That shouldn't be a problem, because I'm not a threat. Because I had the white-black enchantment in my hand that, when it enters the battlefield, exiles a target player's graveyard, and then you get zombies.
And they all gain lifelink.
And then they all gain lifelink. And
what it turns out was, I made the right choice.
So what I thought was, like, I'm the next in the turn order of Hugh. If I can persuade him to mill somebody who's not me out, to the point where, like, they're going to lose in draw step, they'll still be in the game when it's my turn. I can exile all their library, they still lose, and then I got an ungodly amount of zombies with lifelink, and I can get back up off like the 10 life that I'm on.
Will, what you fail to understand is 2 things. Number 1, I am a complete wild card. And number 2, if given the opportunity to remove you from the game, I will take that at the bereft of my own life.
Is this what you call professional pettiness?
Yes. Spell Queller, my Etherflux Reservoir again. I dare you.
Oh, Hugh, but it feels so good, and the look on your face is so adorable.
And that's why you get milled for 36.
Basically, yeah.
Oh dear.
I would highly recommend building an EDH cube.
Good
It's very
stories.
fun.
Yeah, good stories.
Perhaps put less mill in it than Sam does.
No,
Yeah.
more mill. Nothing but mill. I want more increasing confusions. I want to reverberate into a dual cast, into an increasing confusion. Everyone.
I'll put the link to my cube in the. So if you want to see what it's like, feel free
I'll put it in the description. Don't you worry. And on that note, everybody, we are going to say goodbye there. Thank you so much for listening. We do apologize for this being out late. Hopefully, I get this out on time so we can actually get back onto a reasonable schedule. There's no real news apart from the not unstable. The Unset has had its cards released. We may talk about that next time. We may not. Unsanctioned. That's on. We may talk about that next time. We may not. We'll have a look and we'll see. Anyway, thank you ever so much for listening. Enjoy all of your Magic-related activities, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wait, hold a minute. Did they announce Pioneer for Arena, you guys?
I think they did.
That's the thing. See you next week.